think one of my earliest memories, is honestly playing softball in the backyard with my dad. That was something that just from day one, when I was 3 or 4 years old, he was always in the backyard playing with me.
Those early games of catch from Maris Boelens and her dad, Gary, just a couple of years after her life started in a Russian orphanage. And it led to a standout softball career at Allman High School in the Quad Cities area. And now her 4th year coming up this spring for SIU softball, playing the outfield for this week's guest on the Saluki Standards podcast, Maris Boelens. SIU softball, can't wait to have it back. Friday at 9 a.m. the season finally gets going, and then the first home game will be the Coach P Classic against Austin P beginning on February 26th with 5 games at home coming up here in 2 weeks. Before we get into Maris and our conversation, a reminder that McAllister's Deli in Carbondale is the healthy choice option of Saluki Athletics. Consider your last-minute meetings, get-togethers, or celebrations handled because McAllister's brings their best to every event. From delivery and setup to big appetites and the smallest details, McAllister's has you covered. Go to mcallistersdeli.com/catering and let's stay connected. Maris Boelens on this week's Saluki Standards podcast, the outfielder for Saluki softball. The career's gone fast. It's crazy to say she's a senior, but here we are. Maris, welcome. Is it crazy to you to say that you're a senior now?
Yeah. I mean, I can remember as if it was yesterday that I was a freshman just coming into school, not knowing what to expect school-wise, softball-wise, but the journey definitely has been one of the best experiences of my life, not only academically, but also athletically and just honestly overall coming in, having built-in friends that we'll have memories with for a lifetime and being able to travel with softball. And obviously then too, the main reason why I came was finding out what I wanted to do with my career, and choosing to go the pre-med route has been such a blessing. So overall it's been really fun, but like you said, it's gone so fast.
Obviously you've got some brains going into the medical field. What's your experience been with that at SIU?
Yeah, it's been good. I've had amazing teachers over the past 4 years. All the resources, advisors, coaches, athletic advisors, friends. I've just kind of had the whole package when it comes to academics. I'm currently in an exercise science major. So that has kind of been a new perspective on my pre-med route. I've learned a lot of the PT aspect and the exercise portions of it. And also joining Strong Survivors program is a program that Dr. Anton runs, which we get to help cancer patients actually train, and we help them form exercise programs so that they can get kind of back to their normal lifestyle. And that's really helped me in the pre-med route too, just kind of picking different routes and seeing different options. And then hopefully after I graduate this May, a possible job opening as becoming a medical scribe that has been kind of up in the air. So that's another route I could potentially go. So overall, the experience academically has been good for me.
Dr. Anton's going to be pumped. This is 2 of the last 3 weeks we've had Strong Survivors members on this podcast. We had Emma Ballman on a couple of weeks ago.
It's a great program. I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in the medical field 5, 6, 7 years down the road?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to do pediatrics. That's what I have I've grown up kind of knowing that I wanted to do something with kids. So that's kind of the route I'm wanting to go. Obviously, once you get into med school, there's so many different options. And I've heard so many stories of people saying, hey, I want to go pediatric route, and then they end up in surgery or something completely different. So obviously I'm keeping my mind open with it and just kind of seeing where life takes me at this point. But I would say my number one choice right now would be pediatrics. So.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Well, before we get into some of the stuff that's a little further down the road, I do want to talk about the start of the season. a little bit before we get going. Obviously, a weird off season last year gets cut short because of COVID. What have you noticed the biggest differences have been in the preparation for this season versus the other seasons you've been at SIU?
Oh gosh, I would say honestly, not much has changed. I would say going from year to year, obviously we have to adapt to the COVID restrictions, those COVID rules. But I would say as a team and as a softball unit, I would say that our practices have been pretty much the same that we have been in the past. We have a very, very solid group this year, and I'm super, super excited to start the season. I would say overall, I think the biggest difference for us is our energy level at practice. Everyone is so excited to practice again. We're obviously super, super excited that it's game week. As you can tell, I literally can't stop smiling about it because I'm so excited. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, and we're overall just super, super excited to get back on the field and compete. Obviously, all of us are competitors just as much as our coaches are. So I would say the overall training process has been pretty similar that it has been in the past.
So do you feel as prepared as you normally would for first pitch?
Yeah, I would agree 100% that we're ready to go. I think hitting wise, especially, I've noticed that there have been many improvements this year. Obviously, our pitching staff is spot on. We've had scrimmages these past few weeks, and they've just been on fire. So the pitching staff, knowing that they're coming back strong, is helping our confidence, obviously. And then our defensive aspect of the game, it's been super strong this preseason and even last fall. I think the one aspect that has changed a lot and has helped us a lot is our communication. We do have a young team. We have a versatile team this year that there's many players that can play every position. Obviously, there's so many different rotations that we could have this year. So it's comforting and it helps with our confidence knowing that we have so many components to our team this year that we're so strong in every aspect of the game. So I feel that our team is prepared. I know that we're going to go into it and have a bunch of fun this weekend down in Mississippi, and we're just ready to compete again overall.
Who's getting the better of who right now? The pitchers or the hitters in the scrimmages?
I would say, honestly, the pitchers kind of had us at the beginning, but then, obviously, like the game, you get more comfortable, you get, you see the pitchers once or twice, and then, you get the hang of it. But the pitchers overall they are really killing it this year. So I'm excited to see them compete in our games.
I'm sure if Carrie's listening to this, she's saying, good answer. Good answer.
Always.
What's the biggest improvement you feel like you've made individually heading into year 4 now?
I think honestly, my confidence. Freshman year coming in, obviously you come in, a little timid, I would say, just because you are a freshman, it's a new feeling. But I think overall, each year for me, my confidence has grown tremendously. Last year before our season was cut short, I think I personally felt like I was kind of on an uphill from there in my offense, defense. But I would say for me overall, it would definitely be my confidence that has kind of went uphill as coming into my last season.
Just thinking about your game overall, I've seen you play quite a bit, obviously, but maybe everybody hasn't. How would you just sum up your game overall? How would you describe your game?
I would probably say I'm a more defensive player. Ever since I was little, I love the outfield. I love running after balls, diving after balls. That's kind of my thing. So I would say overall, I'm a more defensive person. Jen Sewell obviously has helped me tremendously with my hitting skills, slapping, and she has really helped me gain confidence in that aspect of it. But I would say definitely overall, I'm a more defensive player.
You mentioned how, you've been a slapper, but I got to ask you about that first career home run last year at home. Do you feel like you've started to generate a little bit more power from that left side?
Yeah, I mean, I would say obviously with COVID and not playing for 11 months now, that definitely has, not really positively or negatively affected it. But at the same time, it's kind of helped me work on my game a little bit and work on those hitting skills that I needed to do, especially when I was at home. One of my old high school friends, coaches, he has a hitting place back at home, so he'll always let me go in and hit, which is super nice. So I've been able to work on the power aspect of hitting. I do think though that I am more comfortable especially like in tight situations, I am more of kind of that slapping mode when it comes to that, just because I feel more confident in doing it. But I would say overall, my hitting power has improved. I'm now kind of working on, getting more of those line drive hits rather than, the fly balls or the ground balls, obviously. So, but I would say overall, it's gotten better each year, probably.
What were you feeling when you were circling the bases that first time when you had your first career home run?
First of all, I remember thinking to myself, I'm running way too fast around the bases. I need to slow down and kind of take in the moment. No, but that was definitely one of the highlights of my career so far here at SIU. Obviously, going to the tournament, that was by far the best experience of my life. But hitting that home run, at first I didn't even know it went out, honestly. I was rounding first and, just hoping for a double or a triple. And then I remember hearing everyone screaming and shouting that it went over. So finally then I could slow down and run around the bases then. But it was definitely a good feeling, that's for sure. And then obviously just improving every game from then. And obviously I'm not the type of hitter that tries to hit home runs. That's not really my role, but it happens every once in a while, kind of like it did for me. So it was a good feeling, and definitely I hope to get another one this season.
Well, yeah, you talked about how, you're kind of a line drive hitter. It feels like you've worn out that left field grass throughout a lot of your career, but that one got out so fast you didn't really have time to bat flip it or anything like that. No, I didn't. It definitely was a moment that, it surprised me, obviously, but it was also a moment that it's been a goal of mine ever since I was a freshman. I've always told myself I just want to get one home run in college, and that was the game. But yeah. But like I said, I'm hoping for another one this season, but if it doesn't happen, that's fine too. Yeah. I guess more prototypical of your approach was you talked about the NCAA tournament, the walk-off that you had against Detroit. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you feeling in that moment? That was the school's first NCAA tournament win in a long time. I'm sure that's not going through your head, but a really cool moment for you there too. Yeah.
I still watch that video to this day. It's kind of my motivation every day to just keep grinding and keep working hard. Obviously, no one wins the game with one hit, but that was a moment that really is going to stick with me forever. That was a cool moment for me personally, but it was also one of the best moments for our team as a whole. So I give credit though to our whole team. Obviously, without that effort and without each and every one of their hits, their outs, their plays, their pitches, obviously I wouldn't even be put in that moment. But overall, for me personally, that was one of the coolest moments of my softball career.
Hopefully you guys get a chance to go back there again this year. What qualities do you think this team shares with that team that went there a couple of years ago?
I think overall, again, the confidence. I think we know and we kind of understand that, we are where we're at because we do work so hard every day. I also think though that not only do we have our strong hitters coming back, strong pitchers, strong fielders, but we really have bonded. And I truly believe that, if you're one team and you can bond, then you're unstoppable. There's just something about it that, when you're playing with your best friends every single day and you get that opportunity to compete with each other, it just kind of meshes and it all falls into place. So I think the biggest thing for us this year is going to be, bonding on the field, but also off the field. Obviously, it's been more challenging with COVID, not being able to see each other off the field as much. But I think we've found ways to get around that and really bond when we are together. And we understand that, challenges are going to come, adversity is going to come, but we also know that we're a great team and we know how to overcome those challenges.
How have you gotten creative and found ways to bond, even though you can't see each other as much?
Yeah. So, obviously one of our pregame warm-ups was obviously sitting in the locker rooms, jamming out, that sort of stuff. But we found other ways. I mean, I would say the biggest thing is even in the fall, we would have practices where afterwards we'd stay at the field and, play, throw a football around or play Frisbee outside, socially distance and finding new ways like that. I think the biggest thing is even though we can't see each other physically, we can still communicate with each other, still, FaceTime or even, get on Netflix parties or stuff like that where we can still bond with each other even though we're not physically together. For sure.
One of the signature things I think of when you guys warm up is the hacky sack. Is that allowed this year?
Oh yeah. Yep. We played one or two games this year so far before practices or scrimmage games, but I think so far we played it and it seems to kind of get our nerves down, I think, and kind of those jitters out before the games. But it's also a fun way to, get some laughs and giggles too before, because obviously with softball is one thing, but hacky sacking with our team is a different story. So it's definitely a way to bond in that aspect and kind of just have fun before the games.
A quick break from Maris Boelens. Bud Light created a seltzer so satisfying, it will have your taste buds going wild. Bud Light Seltzer is the official seltzer of Saluki Athletics. Now back to our conversation with Saluki softball's Maris Boelens.
I first became familiar a little bit with your story in 2018. I think your freshman year. The old sports info director, Tony McDaniel, wrote a story about you coming from Russia, being adopted, you and your brother. What do you remember about some of those early days when you first came over to America and living with your adopted family?
Yeah, so I was adopted when I was 6 months old, so obviously I don't remember a lot of that. But ever since I can remember, my parents have always told me that I was adopted. They've never shied away from that. So it was kind of something that I didn't really have to get used to because it was kind of the only thing I knew. Being adopted as a baby, I didn't know that, I had other parents somewhere else, but, these were kind of my new parents that, I lived with. So my parents that adopted me, obviously they have been through it with me for everything. So, I would say overall, I think one of my earliest memories is honestly playing softball in the backyard with my dad. That was something that just from day one, when I was 3 or 4 years old, he was always in the backyard playing with me, playing catch, hitting me fly balls, stuff like that. And he kind of helped me, grow love for softball and kind of is why I'm kind of in it today. And the reason why I do still play is because of him. And I think that was probably the earliest memory that I have of being here. But one of the cool things is I have videos of Russia when I was over there and the whole adoption process. So I've watched those before, which is super, super cool, of when my parents went over and got me. But I would say, obviously, being here in America, I don't know any different because I grew up. It's been my life. So I don't really compare my lives, as if I'm kind of adopted, as if I'm adopted or not adopted. Sort of, it's just my lifestyle. So
right. You know no different.
I don't know different. So
The video, is it like old camcorder footage that your parents were taking?
Yep. Yeah. So I haven't watched the videos in such a long time, but the one thing I do remember is one of them is a video of my parents standing in the orphanage in this literally this 4 white walled room that and then the people bringing me and my brother in to give me to my parents. And so that was a very eye-opening video to watch. And then another one I remember is my parents took a video of them kind of traveling over there and just seeing all the different buildings and that sort of stuff. And then obviously before like your parents go over and adopt you, they send videos to their parents, like to the parents to see which kids they're going to get. And it's kind of a funny story. My parents were supposed to get 2 boys and they sent the wrong video and sent my video instead. And my parents couldn't say no. So really, it's kind of been a blessing because I really wasn't supposed to be here, but no, but it's definitely cool to tell people that I'm adopted from Russia. Obviously, if you look at me or hear me, I don't think I look Russian or, sound Russian or anything. So when I tell people that, they're kind of amazed by it, but it's definitely a cool part of me that I get to tell people.
Have you been back?
No. So I definitely want to in the future. That is something I've always wanted to do, and it's something that me and my parents have talked about doing. But just with times right now, and obviously my busy schedule with softball and school, I think it's just a thing, to wait till I'm older, obviously, to kind of take it all in and understand where I came from. So
right, maybe you'll go over, pick up a little bit of an accent, and then people will believe you a little bit more when you say you're Russian.
Right. Yeah.
Well, with your brother and then 2 other siblings that are boys, growing up with all boys, how'd you fit in with the rest of your siblings growing up?
I think I fit in just fine myself. No, me and my brothers would always play baseball, or I was kind of that tomboyish child growing up. I always played flag football with them or basketball. And I remember even my brother's baseball team, their coach is one of our good family friends. And he even asked me to come play baseball with their team rather than playing softball. And so no, I think I fit in pretty good with my brothers. I wouldn't have it any other way though. My little brother now, Carson, he's 13, which is kind of crazy at this point, but he's been we're best friends. We're inseparable. It kind of reminds me when I was a little kid, I'm always the one hitting him fly balls in the yard, and he's always pitching to me, and we go on golf outings and different things. So growing up with brothers though was definitely fun. So,
I mean, thinking about how your family of, I guess, 6 ended up, how much curiosity did you have about what life would have been had that not happened if you had been in Russia?
Yeah, it's definitely something that runs through my mind. Honestly, more than I would think, but I just look at it as it's been a blessing. Coming over here, obviously being adopted, it was I look at it as, it was my second chance at life. And every day that I'm here and every opportunity that I get, I never try to take it for granted because my life could be so different today. I don't know where I would have ended up, or, I could still be in Russia for all I know. So, getting this opportunity to even talk to you and play softball here at SIU and go to school and just kind of follow my dreams, like it really has been the biggest blessing in my life. And it's something that I won't ever take for granted because, a lot of people don't get the opportunities I do. So it's something really special. It's something that obviously I think a lot about, but it's something that I don't let it negatively affect me, because I think some people could take it in a negative way and it could be kind of a sad thing, but for me, I look at it as a positive contribution and a positive outlook on life. So,
Sure.
yeah.
For sure. I asked you before we started recording a little bit about the story of your biological family. You said you were cool with talking about it. So I'm wondering, how much curiosity was there about, who your biological family was and who your biological parents were and where they ended up?
Yeah. So I really haven't wanted to, kind of know who my biological parents are, just because like I'm so happy with my life now. I haven't really, compared like, oh, what would my mom and dad be like back in Russia? It's not really something that I think a lot about. But we were actually, my dad was helping me get my passport when we actually went to on our Mexico trip a couple of years ago for softball, and he came across, he was looking through my birth certificate and came across my mother's name actually, and found actually someone on Facebook by that name. So that's been kind of a curiosity is, could that be my mom? I don't know. I haven't decided to reach out, or my parents haven't decided to reach out. I think that's something that if I do decide to do one day, then cool. But it's not something that I'm want to do today at this moment, just because this is the only life I've ever known. My parents are the only parents I've ever known, so I wouldn't want it any other way. But I do think that, it would be cool. On Facebook, obviously it says she works at some shipping cargo place in Moscow, Russia. So, it could be my mom. I don't know, but it's something definitely one day, if I do decide to pursue that, then obviously the time would be right. But it's not ever something that I think about doing right now at this moment.
I feel like a lot of people want to make the comparison to since you're playing softball and there's a famous baseball player named Roger Maris, or was that maybe you were named after Roger Maris. Do you have any idea where your name came from?
That's actually funny, because my dad has always said that that's who I'm named after, is Roger Maris. And so my high school coaches, they used to call me Roger all the time. One of my old ASA coaches, travel ball coaches, used to call me Roger. And obviously my mom disagrees with it and says that it was just kind of a unique name, but my dad lives by it, that I was named after him. So I don't know. I don't ever know, but but it's definitely something that obviously baseball, softball related, something that's kind of cool. So
yeah, but probably not intentional.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. You've mentioned your parents a couple of times. I saw in your bio, they're both probation officers.
Mm-hmm.
That would lead me to think that maybe they were strict with your kids. Is that correct, or is that a total bias, stereotype, and assumption that I'm making there?
That's funny. No, I think if you asked my dad, he'd say he wasn't a strict parent at all. But I think from my perspective, he was. But no, he really only wanted the best for me. He wanted the best education, the best route to, for school, for college, for softball, for everything. So, no, I definitely was the kid though that I played softball on the weekends. I came home at night and I did my homework, and that was kind of my routine. But no, my mom though, she's definitely the parent that, she's more lenient with stuff. We go out and get our nails done or go on little shopping sprees or whatever. So she's definitely the non-strict parent, and my dad, I would say he would be the strict parent, although he'd probably get mad at me if I said that. So, but yeah, I would definitely say he was a strict parent.
Can't wait for the kickback when he hears this.
I know.
I'm sure they've seen some things working in that line of work. What stories have they shared about working as probation officers?
Oh yeah, they see some pretty crazy stuff. Obviously, as their job. They can't say a lot, just for confidentiality purposes, but there have definitely been, some stories. Obviously it's more to protect us and to protect their kids, knowing that there are some people out in this world that, don't always have it together, do bad things. And I remember, honestly, I got my first speeding ticket when I was in high school. And then a year later, almost to the day, I got a second one. And I remember my dad, he actually took away my car for my senior year of high school. And I think it was kind of the probation side in him that, we don't break the law or, speed and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't break the law, obviously, but they definitely have seen stuff that, it could be very scary at times. My dad has, they go on home visits. My mom and dad both went on home visits, and they've seen stuff from, guns and stuff like that, could be life threatening. So it's definitely helped them put life into perspective, but they've also helped share those stories. So it teaches us kids lessons not to do those things or get involved in those things.
Not to get another speeding ticket.
Yeah, never getting another speeding ticket.
You haven't gotten one since then, I bet.
Nope, not one since then. Nope.
Clean record. Just to wrap things up, heading into senior year, I know you've got some great things ahead of you going into the medical field. But staying in the present moment, what do you want? Say we're to talk in May when we get to the end of the season. What do you want people to remember Maris Boelens for at SIU?
Yeah, I want to. This year especially, I've kind of reflected on it a lot, and I think of more as kind of the legacy, but also for my personal growth is I just want to go out there and have fun. Obviously, if I don't decide to play next year, this is my last season ever playing softball, and that's been my life ever since I was 3 or 4. So I think going into it, I just want to have an open mind, on the field, off the field, obviously with the friendships I've formed, and I want to leave an impact of, I want to be that player that people look up to and say, hey, she gave it her all this last season. She gave it her all while she was playing. But she also had fun while she was doing it. And I want people to understand that softball is a place, a happy place for me. It's something that it helps me take my mind off of, the stresses of school and different life things. And it's something that I hope no one ever takes for granted, because there's so many people that don't get to play this sport. And I'm just fortunate to be able to, put on my cleats every day and go out on that softball field and give it my all every day. And I think just this season, it's really going to be about having fun, embracing every little moment, every good time, every bad time, understanding, that obviously after this year or next year, whenever it may be, that, when softball's over, obviously my career is going to come next. But I want to be able to take softball with me and help me grow as a person, overall in my career and just in life in general. And I know Carrie and Jen and Kenzie and all the coaches and all, my parents, my grandparents, everyone that's kind of helped me along the way. I've already kind of grown as a softball player and as a person just from the sport. But I want to really, really embrace every second of it and really soak in every fun moment, just because one day it's all going to be gone, and I'm not going to get that opportunity to play softball again. So I just want everyone to remember to, on those days that are struggling and you have to get up at 6 a.m. for weights, it's all worth it, because at the end of the day, the sport gives back to you, and it's given me so many memories, so many friends, so many travel experiences that I'll have for a lifetime.
And you haven't stopped smiling that it's game week ever since we started.
I haven't. I'm so excited. I really cannot contain my excitement, and I'm so excited for each and every one of us girls. We've been working so hard, not just for these past few weeks, but pretty much for 11 months now with COVID. We're just ready to get back on the field. We're ready to compete again. It's what we live and die for. So we're just so excited. We can't wait for 8 a.m. on Thursday to roll around and get on that bus and head down to Mississippi. So.
Yeah, get into the sunshine. That's an added bonus too.
Yeah, always. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the time and sharing part of your story. I know there are people out there probably inspired by how upbeat you are about all the things you've gone through. So it's great to learn more about you, Maris.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to playing, and I really appreciate you asking me to get on here tonight. So.
For sure. We'll be there to watch when you guys are back home February 26th. That's 2 weeks away. Can't believe it. That's Maris Boelens here on the Saluki Standards podcast. Salukis start their season Friday in Mississippi.